Those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. This is Success with Srini.
If I ask you, what is your worth? What is your answer? Well, for an informed individual, it'll be very difficult to answer the question. And the only way you'll answer that question is by asking a question back to me, which is, Srini, what do you mean by worth? Do you mean my net worth? Like the amount of money I have today? Or the money I'm going to make in my lifetime? What do you mean by worth? And what if I say that remove money and define your worth? You can't use money as a meter, but still you have to define your worth. Well, for that, the way you may respond back is maybe you look into all the knowledge you acquired, maybe all the beliefs and values, the way you took care of your siblings, the way you took care of your children, maybe your parents, maybe the charities you did, all that. You will start looking other aspects of your existence, and you'll come back and give an answer which may or may not truly represent who you are. But you will try. So I want you to do that today, once you're done listening to this podcast. So I want you to define your worth without money. It's very interesting when we bring the topic of worth, money comes in. As if money has taken a big dominant position in our subconscious mind. It just comes in the minute we hear the word worth. It's a good exercise to do. So I want you to do that today. Now, the reason why I'm highlighting this today on the podcast, or this specific question, is because I want to drive a point that I'm seeing a lot in people, which is people take one small little thing in their life and they associate their identity to it. For example, recently they might have lost a business, or they might have lost some money in the stock market, which we are seeing now. Or they bought a house that went down in value, and for some reason they say, I'm not good with investments. I'm not good with business. So one small little event, maybe a big event, but one event in the lifespan, it's a small event, but in the moment, it looks as if it is a big event. And suddenly they take all these years of experience, all these years of existence, and all the stuff they accumulated intellectually, all that, and they ridicule themselves in front of this one event. I have done it. I've seen people do it. I'm pretty sure this has happened with you also. That's why I'm highlighting this, because recently I had a conversation in these lines with an individual. So why take an individual part of your life and why associate that or take that as a measure and measure your whole life's worth? An individual part can be dysfunctional. And it is dysfunctional in every individual. There isn't an individual who has everything going for them and perfect, 100% perfect. There are imperfections everywhere. All you have to do is open your eyes and look at the life. A human being is a complex creature. Creature, I don't know how to say that. We are complex beings. We are ever changing. We are dynamic. We have a complex construction. We create histories, we create science, we create geographies. We are complex. We are constantly changing. So if we are constantly changing, you are constantly changing, why is it that you take one small aspect of your life and highlight that as if that's your only identity and that is the only thing that you should have done right, but you somehow got it wrong, and hence the whole life is a waste? I'll tell you, this has a lot to do with labeling, the way you are labeled. And this has to do the way you were raised, the situation into which you were born, the circumstances through which you grew up, and the people who influenced you, your early thinking, and also even today as an adult, maybe the people around you who you talk to also influence you in a certain way. They label you. It's very hard when you start living to other people's perceptions, you don't create happiness. You won't be happy. So you got to live your life. I remember, my mother, God bless her soul, always used to say, and used to compare me with my 3 cousins and 3 male cousins. And that's all she used to do. She never compared me with my dad. She never compared me with her side of her family, none of them. She always used to compare me to 3 of my cousins who are my father's elder brothers, my uncles, my father's side uncles' children. And I never understood this logic. And today, when I have grown up and moving around, seeing the world and dealing with human problems, and I look back and say, why did she do this? That's the label I carry. So later on, when I grew up, everything I do today, right, my first thing my mind goes to is to these 3 cousins. Nobody else. Even though I have so many other cousins and they all are doing incredibly good and whatever they are, wherever they are, but I was not compared to them. So my mind doesn't carry that reflection. So the label doesn't exist in me. And I spend a lot of time trying to remove such labels out of my thinking. It's very hard to do that at this time. So one of the things that I want to tell you, share with you on the podcast today is stop processing labels and start resisting labels. If somebody says something to you that you know deep within yourself that that's not true about you, you got to stop it. And also you from your side, you start thinking that, I am good and I'm perfectly fine. You start accepting yourself. So every individual in the times that we are in, and thanks to social media and all these things that are coming at us, you are a nice guy on social media, you'll be attacked. You're a nice gal on social media, you'll be attacked. And even though you have good intentions, you want to just be yourself, you'll be attacked. So at a time, in the times that we are in right now, it's important that you start a self-acceptance routine that you practice on a daily basis. And I did multiple podcasts on self-acceptance here, but then I want to give you an overall idea as a part of today's podcast episode, such that you don't grossly overgeneralize yourself and start living with specifics. The specifics are this: you are unique, you're different, you have skills, you have talents, you have good times, you have bad times, you have good tastes, you have bad tastes, you have good people, you have bad people, you have good circumstances, you have bad circumstances, and you have good money and bad money. Good money, no money. Some money, no money. Some wealth, no wealth. Some success, no success. Some failure, whatever. So you swing between all extremes and it's perfectly fine. That's how life was designed and that is okay to be that way. So what kind of self-acceptance routine are we talking? Number 1 is that you are changing. So today it's a Sunday, tomorrow it's going to be a Monday. It's an evening now, tomorrow it's going to be morning. It's morning right now when I'm recording this. So chances are I'll see this evening. Whether I see it or not, it's going to change. That's the truth. So if you are changing and change is happening, why not change for better? Okay. You, like everybody else, is work in process. You, if you make an attempt today, you could be work in progress. Not just process, but in progress. And all the external events that are happening around you, they're happening in a way such that you take them into you and you start creating internal strength, an internal understanding, an internal association towards a positive. So if you start thinking, these are very high level things, but if you start positioning your mind that way, this is one of the self-acceptance routines, is that everything that's changing around is happening for me. So when we talk about change, whether you like it or not, change is happening, and we know that. Anything that you are going through right now is going to change. Good or bad, we do not know, but things will change. Things are changing. So one of the things that you have to bring in is, just because you smoked once in life, you're not a smoker. Just because you had one business failure doesn't mean that you are not a business owner or you cannot run a business. Just because you had one failure. Just because one transaction, one stock trade went wrong, and because the market went wrong, doesn't mean that you are a failed investor. Okay? So think through that. And now because you are changing and you are progressing and the process is happening, and every change that's happening externally is going to be used internally as strength, why not read some books? Why not bring in the right stuff into the thinking such that you raise your worth? That's the point. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Hopefully this is helpful. I'm sorry, when I clap, I get excited, I clap. I don't know why. And that if you're listening to this on a headset, then maybe this is going to create some trouble for you. My apologies. I didn't mean that way. But anyway, so hopefully this is helpful. And if it is, let me know. You're watching this on YouTube, there should be a place for you to write a comment. And you're listening to this on a podcasting app, there should be a place for you to write and review this podcast. Please do it for me. And that's all for now. And I'll be catching you tomorrow, Saturday. That's all for now. Okay, you take care. Bye now.